This is interesting. I'm taking this as kind of a closing of the circle, because I kind of started doing what I'm doing now with looping and using echoes and performing in one-man band style and creating the sounds. I started when I was working on my first record, and I got discovered by Tori, and it was great. It was like it was an honor, and it was a lot to learn, and it was really being kicked in the deep end. We did Madison Square Garden, I think, was the first night of the tour. And her following can be super tough. I've heard all these horror stories about opening acts that just get shouted over like Tori. But it went really great from the first show through to the end. Was like really successful, and her agent became my agent afterwards as a result. And this is like a closing of the circle, finishing up 3 years later in my hometown. It's kind of perfect, and it's just when I'm about to embark on my next record mission and figure out my new sound. You know, we were building things in the UK and Europe, but we hadn't yet to launch everything. And I got a MySpace message. At the time, MySpace was the happening thing, no longer. And I got this message from this dude. I didn't know it. He's like, "Hey, I'm a DJ." I thought DJ in a club. He's like, "Just discovered your song club thing. I'm going to play it on my show tonight." And didn't think anything of it. Got back online about 3 hours later, and there was like hundreds of friend requests from Denmark, literally hundreds, and all these things on the wall. And I was like, well, something just happened. So they played the song once, and it caused a real stir. And then these DJs, sadly their show's no more, but it was this sort of national pastime watching these two DJs that call themselves the Black Scouts, and they've discovered a few artists and brought them to Denmark, and a good percentage of the whole country listens to their show. And they invited me on the show. I came on with the guitar and my little loop pedal and delay pedal, and played 3 songs live and chatted to them. And the next day we were watching the iTunes thing go up and up and up all the way to #1. Stayed there for a while, and then my show sold out in a day, which was the 500 venue. So they pushed me up to the sort of 2,000 venue, and then that sold out. And since then I've had a really great time. Denmark was the first country that really kicked off for me. Russia was great, also because of that song, same song. It was big, and I went and I've done a few great things there. They gave me an award that year, Best New Artist. That was awesome. Played with an orchestra in Moscow in front of thousands of people. And then and Canada was a slower build because I had a label there, and they were working me. That song was on the radio a lot. But I did the Montreal Jazz Fest that year, and was sort of like called the Belle Découverte, the discovery of that festival. So that really, particularly in Quebec, that I've had a great, just a following, building. My success, or the places where I've been successful, it's so random, and it's pretty much. Well, now I have a great label in South Africa. With my first record, I was signed internationally to Universal, which was fine in a couple of countries, but most of the Universal International, they're lazy. They don't want to try break an artist that isn't already huge. So my successes in different countries were in spite of the record label rather than because of them. And it was because of the internet. In Germany, there was a DJ who ripped my song, and it became a huge hit. In Denmark, Russia, was the same thing. I've had a massive hit in the Middle East. Who knew? It started in Greece, and then went on to Turkey, and then in Egypt. And including songs like Adore Adore, which is quite political, which I believe people in Iran are listening to, which is awesome. Portugal, which fed through to Brazil, Indonesia, and all of it's from the internet. I would never be touching those countries if not. So I'm kind of, people are like, oh, illegal downloading and this and that, and I'm like, no, it's interesting. I've got fans in places I never would have dreamed. Figuring out the next step. I've got songs in my brain. I'm going to finish everything while I'm here for the next 2 months. I want to do something more pop, more electronic, less centered around the acoustic guitar, and there's a few people I'd like to work with. Probably going to start off in Los Angeles, demo songs down, and then choose someone. There's a lot of people in Sweden that I like, as far as people that are able to do something that's pop, but it's also kind of cool and dark at the same time. The guys that do Mike Snow, if you know that band, and the guys that are part of The Knife, and the people that produce Lickily. A lot of the cool kind of electronic-y indie pop is coming out of there. So that's my one thought, or if anything else comes up. But I've got some amazing ideas in my head for the next record. A few songs that are going to be crackers. So that's the next thing, and then I'm going to figure out how to make it big live, and I don't know if that's bringing on more band members or having maybe turntables on stage with me, which could be really interesting. Guitar, my setup, turntables, my 2 microphones. But you know, I'm wary of being the guy on the street with the foot and the kick drum and the harmonica and the arm. I'm a little wary of that, because you've always got to be able to project the song first and foremost. You can't get caught up in the mechanics of that. But that's basically where my head's at. Make the record, then think about how I'm going to make the live show.